track at the World. We are tied.
Look at this. He's running it forward. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
From dropping a big leg. Over for the cover.
He got it. Unbelievable.
High fly ball into right field. She is gone. Austin, he got it. The starter. Mike Tyson in. Austin is the champion. Stone Cold. Stone Cold. Stone Cold. Now the 2-2. Well hit down the left field line. Way back in.
Touch a ball, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Oh my God, no! Mankind did it! Nick Foley did it! No! Stone Cold did it! Mankind has achieved his dream and the dream of everyone else who's been told you can't do it! No! You can't do it! You can't do it! No matter what, got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
North South Connection Podcast Network. Welcome to WWE WAR, Wrestling Above Replacement. This podcast is simulcast, audio and visually. Audio on any podcast application, except those bitches of Spotify, under North South Connection. And you can find us on video here on our YouTube channel under North South Connection. And this is one show I do recommend watching on YouTube because there's a lot of numbers, a lot of categories, a lot of information, and the graphic presentation of that info is extremely well done by producer Tim, not the Toolman Taylor, who is with me and my co-host on the show, and that is Mr. Marcus. How are you?
I'm good, and to add to that list, you get to see our beautiful faces and our God tier t-shirt selection, might I say. But I'm good, man. I'm good. Spring has sprung. Hopefully we're in the last bit of fall spring. I don't know how things are going up there, but I'm ready for summer, ready to get rolling, and the warm weather has me feeling ready for the Summerfest.
That is true. Crazy enough, Marcus, it's 100 days until the NFL season. It's so weird because like football seems close, even though it's not even summer yet. Like college football is like, what, 9 weeks away or something ridiculous?
That's crazy.
Like,
yeah,
it's crazy, right? It comes up so fast. But anyway, we're going to enjoy the summer here. We're going to enjoy this podcast journey. On this show, we are going through every WWE pay-per-view ever in a seasonal format, which means we start with the show following WrestleMania in any given calendar year and wrap with WrestleMania the following year. And we're going to do that by breaking down each show in a number of categories that we're going to go over in a moment. And we're going to take out that jumbled number at the end, stack rank them all, and determine what the best pay-per-view of all time is. So that's kind of a teaser of the rules. I'm going to throw it to producer Tim, who is going to give a deep dive on how the show works and what the rules and regulations are.
Welcome to WWE WAR. I'm producer Tim. JT and Marcus have taken on the noble task of finding the true answer to the age-old question wrestling fans have debated for years. What is the greatest WWE pay-per-view of all time? To find the answer, WAR looks to explore each and every pay-per-view using a plus-minus scale at a baseline average, where things above average gain a point and things below average lose a point. WWE WAR grades on several categories including match quality, build, commentary, atmosphere, notable moments, card structure, and rewatchability. The magic number to remember for WWE WAR is 2.5. That is the baseline number for an average replacement level match. Any grade higher or lower than 2.5 raises or lowers the average WAR score. For example, if JT and Marcus give a match a 3-star rating, then that match is 0.5 points above replacement. Add all of the totals up and you get your nice round number to give you your match quality grade. There's also a bonus. If there is a match that both JT and Marcus rate 4.25 or higher, or 0.75 or lower, that match gains or loses a point for either an all-time great match or an all-time bad match. By the time we're done, we will have composed the most comprehensive list ever for WWE pay-per-views to give you the answer of what is the greatest WWE pay-per-view of all time. Take it away, boys.
It's SummerSlam. That's all I can think of when I feel the heat. Go pay-per-view theme right there. SummerSlam theme. They get producer Tim to running down the rules. And yeah, we're going to dive right in. This is a big show, Marcus. And this show to me is like a really cool test case of our project, right? Because we have some shows like a SummerSlam 90 that I don't think most would think of as like a greatest pay-per-view all time. Maybe it's nostalgic, but for us, it finished really high, right? This is one I would say most people, if you're ranking the SummerSlams, which many have done. And if you do that, you usually see this one in the top 3, if not number 1 on a lot of lists. So we'll see how it finishes for us, though, because our metric system, as you just heard, is very different than just, hey, great matches. This show took place on August 18, 2013 from the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California, 17,739 in attendance, and it's only been held on this date twice. The other time was SummerSlam 1996 from
Cleveland, Ohio.
The Gund. Yes, sir. All right. So why don't we go ahead and dive in? We're going to go through the matches real quick, give our grades, and then we'll get into our categories. There was one pre-show match, and that is the recently returned Rob Van Dam defeating Dean Ambrose by disqualification in the U.S. title match. That is a SummerSlam. Did you know for sure right there? All right. The opener saw Bray Wyatt making his in-ring pay-per-view debut, and he is taking on Kane. So that is our first match. It is a Ring of Fire match, which is basically like an old Inferno match from 1998, where the ring, as you can see in the picture here, the ring goes up. Anytime they bump around, the fire shoots up. I thought it looked pretty cool. Like it's about 8 minutes here. I like the one from 98 too. I know like it kind of gets mocked here and there, but I actually like the visual of it. I'm surprised they haven't done more of them because it is pretty cool looking. And of course, this is really early on in the Wyatts' journey, where they're still kind of presented as very creepy, very lethal, and they Bray defeats Kane and they carry his body out. We'll see what happens from there, but for now, they've absconded with him. I went 2.5 though, Marcus. I mean, it's fine. It's short. It's what you'd expect of these two guys, right? It's a brawl, enhanced by the fire. Like if you take the fire out, it probably sinks a little bit, but that helps carry the presentation.
Yeah, 2.5. It sets a tone pretty early for Bray Wyatt, establishes what kind of character he is. He kind of operates in this supernatural realm, akin to Undertaker, Kane. So it's a good introduction. Also have the Wyatt family out there. So they are selling the fire a lot, trying to get in the ring. That's part of the story of the match, and eventually they do. And that leads to the finish. So you establish them as a group. I wouldn't say you're putting Bray over Strong, but you are putting the group over Strong by taking out Kane collectively. So 2.5 for me. And next up, we have tag partners colliding as we have the explosion of Team Rhodes Scholars, one of my least favorite tag team names of all time.
This is right in the middle of the team this, team that.
Oh, it's awful. But Cody Rhodes defeats the Money in the Bank winner and holder of the contract, Damian Sandow. I wanted 2.75. It felt like this kind of had the makings, or should have had the makings, of like a classic mid-card SummerSlam match. You have a personal issue. You have some meat on the bone there. You have a little bit of stakes with Sandow's Money in the Bank holder, but just came in under expectations. I think for me, the match is still okay with a 2.75, but nothing to write home about.
Yeah, 2.75 for me too. I mean, it's fine. I do like that they had it on SummerSlam. Like it seems like a match that may not make that cut when you look at kind of how the card stacks up, but it's cool. And both guys kind of needed the win, which is interesting. Like Sandow's coming off Money in the Bank, feels like okay, well you want to build him up, but Cody, I think they know they have more in him, and we'll see. Like things get pretty hot for him in the fall, so it ends up being fine. Cody gets his revenge for Sandow costing him Money in the Bank. And I don't think it's any surprise that to date right now, like Sandow's like a real weak Money in the Bank winner, which again, I think it's okay. Like we talked about it a little bit when we did that show. Like not every Money in the Bank winner has to be a star that's going to cash in. Sometimes a guy gets a fluke win and then just kind of, isn't a great contender, even though he kind of won that one match. He stole the win. So it's fine to have an off year where you don't want to always have the guy cashing in, because it's pretty obvious from here. Sandow's not going to cash in on Orton, or what's our other champion? Whatever. Whoever our two champions. Sorry, I've lost track at this point. But I'm sorry, John Cena and Del Rio, right? Our champion. So I mean, he's not going to cash in on either of them, obviously. So anyway, 275. We'll see where the Road Scholars go from here, but they're done as a team. Cody's a face now, and Sandow's on his own as a heel. All right, next up is our world title match, and that is Alberto Del Rio taking on Christian. This is a sneaky fun match. I think everyone remembers the Orton Christian series from 2 years earlier, but this is like right up there with those. I went 4 stars. They really go all out. Christian's great in these types of matches where kind of has nothing to lose and just kind of goes in there and balls out, puts the guy over. I mean, they give him 12 minutes so they don't overstay their welcome. They never really slow down. They keep the pace up. The crowd is into it. And it's a good title of retention for Del Rio to roll on, beats him clean by pinfall. So, and it's always a good story for Christian, kind of like one last bite at the apple toward the end of his career. So this is a really good match. And, if you're having a good match like this on your undercard, that probably means the rest of your show is going to do pretty well.
Yeah, this kind of takes the place of the mid-card match that you expect to rise up and be a classic. 4.25 for me. Christian is deep in his bag, as the kids would say. This is just a great example of the kind of great match that Christian can give you. And Del Rio during this time is a guy that can definitely step up to that level as well. I was going to say something about Christian, but I forget. So, I guess we'll just keep it moving.
You just want to do a 5-second pose.
Yeah, CTE, he's got it. That's me. Next up, we have Natalya defeating Brie Bella. I went the 2. It's all right. Not a whole lot to talk about here, I thought.
It's kind of a big old why. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm okay with them, doing, like, I like Cody and Sandow. Oh, we'll get a women's match, not for the title on SummerSlam. Like, it's pretty cool. But this match is very random. Neither of them are really that over.
Is it Total Divas related?
Yeah, I think it is. I don't know if it's them from Total Divas, but I think they're hyping Total Divas era, because you look who's out there, right? Natalya's got Cameron and Naomi with her. Marie's got Nikki Bella and Eva Marie with her. So I think it is to hype that.
I could be totally mistaken. But I think they booked the match and then do most of the storyline on Total Divas.
I'm sure.
I think that's what this match is.
Well, and we could talk about it in the aggregate when we talk about the card structure, because there's some really notable missing people from the show. Like, there's one real glaring one we'll talk about. But then also, like, AJ, like, all we've done is complain about how much she's on TV and all the stuff with the Dolphin. She's not here, like, with the title. Like, we saw her 19 matches with her and Caitlyn. Like, why isn't she here defending the belt at SummerSlam? Like, it's this odd decision. I guess they really want to push Total Divas, but why not do a triple threat? Do like Brie, Natalya, and AJ, Odd.
Yeah.
All right, 175 for me on that. Here we go. This next match is a classic, and this is one of the ones that everyone really remembers the show for, and that is CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar, which delivers. Sometimes these matches don't deliver, right, on their promise. And SummerSlam has a little bit of a lineage of some of those. But here, this one really came through. It's a war. It's brutal. They have like a no DQ stip, but they don't really go too crazy with it. They use it, but it's not like over the top, plunder war. They get 25 minutes and it holds up. Like, it really delivers and doesn't lose much in, the 10-year sense or whatever, 12-year sense. So we want a double 5. It's an all-time match for us. And I think it holds up to its reputation. I remember watching this show at a bar that used to go to a pizza place, and I had actually brought the cowboy Roger with me, and we had just started hanging out like kind of recently before this, and he hadn't watched wrestling in forever. It's probably since the Attitude Era. And I was like, "Oh, you want to come? We're going to watch the show." He's like, "Yeah, all right." He was so into this match and the show that he has been like a diehard back in since this night. And I remember the place was going crazy during this match. Like it was a great match to watch live in that setting, and I'm glad it delivered, because again, sometimes you get these matches where they have a lot of promise and they don't come through.
Yeah, this is a 5 for me. I wasn't sure where I was going to land with this. I knew it would be in classic territory for us, but I thought maybe 4.5. Every time I watch this match, though, my appreciation for it just continues to go up. And my latest time watching this, I had the realization that, like, if Bret Hart were to put a match together with Brock, it would probably look a lot like this, which is probably a big reason why my appreciation for this match grows every time I see it. But yeah, this is awesome. Full 5 for me.
And it's part of like
Great
a storyline too. It's not just like thrown together, because this is the overarching Punk versus Heyman story. Now he gets so long in the tooth later, but right now it's still pretty hot because Paul had just cost him a Money in the Bank, and they roll in here, and Brock came back on Paul's behalf, right, to take out Punk. So it's like part of a heavy storyline too. It's not like it's just they got nothing else to do. Let's throw Punk and Brock together.
Yeah. So we got a little bit of a let me up, and it's unfortunate who's in this spot, as we have Big E and AJ.
AJ is on the card. I blanked on that when I was ready to go out earlier, but
not in a title match. But we got Big E and AJ losing to Dolph Ziggler and Caitlyn as the slide of the Zigzag Man continues. I went with a 2.75. I thought for a mixed tag team match, especially during this time, where there's a lot of challenges and restrictions as to what you can do. They did a pretty good job of making it not feel like two singles matches going on. So I thought that was a testament to their work, especially with Big E being so new to the main roster here. But yeah, Ziggler should have a lot more. There's an argument that he should be in a couple other people's spots on this card.
He's definitely in contention for when we get to Mania, like the guy who should have been prominently on the card and is cooked by then.
Absolutely.
2.5 for me. It was fine. I mean, it definitely feels like a draw for Dolph. At least they split him and AJ finally, because that was feeling weird that they were trying to keep AJ heel. Dolph is a sympathetic face now, and AJ was still with him. Like, that was weird. So it was good to get them split. I think I would have killed the Total Divas match and just done AJ Caitlyn one more time, like last chance for Caitlyn or whatever, and then just done Big E Dolph as a singles match and let Dolph get the win. I think you could have done that and been fine, and then you kill that Divas match, and I think you're probably the card's a little bit better. As is, this is fine, but we'll see where they go with everyone. At least to get Big E into some action, because I mean, for most of the years, it's been either Dolph's heavy or Dolph's partner that sits on the apron for the most of the match. All right, so to our next match here on the card, and it is our main event for the WWE Championship. It is Daniel Bryan challenging John Cena. I went 5 again on this. I think this also holds up. I think it's a really wonderful match. We're going to see another Daniel Bryan match at the end of the season that I think is on par with this one. And I thought Cena really hangs with him. To me, it's not like a Bryan carry job. I think Cena really dials it up in this match and delivers a classic with Bryan. Cena's been sneaky good this season. Like, I've liked the Ryback stuff that we saw with him, and this one he amps it up. Like, this is a classic SummerSlam all-time main event. I think it's one of the greatest matches in company history. I had it pretty high, I think, when we did our GWE matches. I'd have to go back and look, but I'm sure I had it at least top 7 or something, if not higher. I love the moment of Bryan winning. We'll get to the post-match in a second. The clean win, right, with the running knee. So, like, that was really cool. Cena puts him over. Triple H is pretty fine as ref. We don't get the shenanigans till after the match, so that's fine. We go 26 minutes. So again, like, just like Cena and Brock, they get plenty of time. I mean, Punk and Brock, they get plenty of time, but it's not like it's drags out like to 45, 40, whatever. Like, they're tight in that 25 with a really, really good pace. The crowd is engaged. It's up on the list of Cena's best matches for me of all time as well. So Just a great main event and a great moment for Bryan to win the belt.
Yeah, 4.5 for me. And I think part of the added appreciation for this match now for me is being able to watch this season, or being able to watch this in season format like we're doing, to see Cena for the first half of the year or season work the monster style and work from underneath and take on Ryback and take on Mark Henry. And then the next month to be able to flip and to be able to have this back and forth classic with Bryan. It's a testament to how good of a worker Cena can be, and kind of this pocket in time he's in here. So this is a great match. I probably oddly ding Bryan's WWE work because I feel like he's not truly, I feel like he's a parody of Bryan Danielson until the Planet Champion run. That's like the first time I feel like we have a real actual version of Bryan Danielson. But even with that, this match is still tremendous.
Still an all-timer for us. So we got two.
Yeah, we have our second all-timer.
Yeah, 2 on the card, which is pretty cool.
We're not done yet because we have another WWE title match as Randy Orton comes down to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase and execute his contract with the assistance of Triple H, as Triple H fully backs the new face of WWE. As kind of the thread here, Orton cashes in on Bryan after Triple H hits the pedigree. We get the 1, 2, 3 after like good 5 minutes of celebration. So I thought they did really well with the post match and kind of giving you the authentic feeling of, okay, this is a crowning for Bryan, not just an upset, anything like that. Like, it's a definitive,
it was a clean and hard-fought win.
Clean win, no shenanigans. You get the pyro, the confetti, all that good stuff. And then you get Orton coming down and they kind of do the will he, won't he. And then you get the moment where Triple H hits the pedigree. I kind of wish that Orton would have hit the RKO for good measure, but looking back on it, it's literally them handing Orton the title, and that plays a big part into the storyline, for better or for worse. It's a big part of the thread of Randy Orton, especially during this time of having everything handed to him. So I think given all that and the execution of the angle, I went 4.5. I think this is one of the better Money in the Bank cash-ins.
Yeah, I probably undersold it with the 2.5 because this wasn't really anything, but you're right. I mean, it's a classic moment. I think the execution is perfect. I think the follow-up is where things get shaky, and the obsession over the best of business and all that stuff that we'll get into. But for this one moment here, it was really well executed. And the heat's good because everyone's been dying for Bryan to win. He finally beats John Cena clean, and then they take it from him. And, this is where it's going to be an interesting back end of the season to dissect how we get to Mania, because classic WWF booking would tell you here that we're going to spend the next 6 months or whatever with Bryan fighting the odds and fighting the authority and then defeating Orton at Mania, right? To me, that's the path in front of you, right? They screw him. Now Triple H is going to become the Vince of late 98, right? Where he's stacking the deck, going to build his authority around him. They're going to put Bryan through the paces, make him win the Rumble, and then he wins the Mania to cap the story. To me, it's laid out beautifully. They go in about this, and then they get there in the end, but they take 75 different turns and then are finally forced into doing it that way. But to me, that if this is 1992 or whatever, this is where we're headed coming out of this match. I think this is a GOAT level Orton look, by the way, as well. He's ripped, but not gassed. He's got the shaved down head and then the hot beard. So he's looking pretty good here. You can see why Steph was all about him to be the face of the company. So we'll talk more about where this all goes. And again, a big moment too, with Triple H turning heel. That's, a big deal as well, obviously. And will carry a lot of the promotion over the next few years in this role as kind of the heel COO or whatever. So anyway, so that wraps the match is for us. So let's look at our total war score for these. Is basically we take my grade, your grade, get the average, and then Tim had explained, plus minus from that 2.5. Every match gets a number. We add it up, and that total is 7.5. So that puts on the very, not a surprise. I mean, it's a very high end of a great show. It's not an all-time show. I think we have some that are 9s and 10s, but this is a really, really, really great in-ring show. So it met its reputation in-ring quality-wise. Let's see if the rest of the show delivers, though, on our WAR metric system. First category we're going to cover is the Bills. So here's what we gave a point to. 1 point for the Wyatts stalking Kane as their first victim since arriving. A point for Lesnar and Punk being made no disqualification after Heyman makes the petition to do so. A point for Rhodes wanting his revenge on Sandow for screwing him at Money in the Bank and breaking up the team. A point for Christian returning after a year off. Beats Orton and RVD on SmackDown. He wants that one last title shot. So again, it's a cool story that they put into that match. Comes back off the injury. And I don't think he's lasts too much longer in ring here, right? Before he retires the first time, before obviously coming back later in AEW. But I don't think he's got too much left in the tank after this.
I think so.
We gave a point for Del Rio firing Ricardo. So really kind of re-solidifying his heel turn even more. A point for Punk chasing Heyman after the betrayal. Wants to prove that he's the best in the world. A point for Dolph Ziggler against his old buddies. He helps Caitlyn get her revenge on AJ. So we kind of put a bow on him and AJ's relationship that's been ongoing for a bit. And then a point for Triple H assigning himself guest referee and kind of hyping up Bryan as the guy. You know, when you look back in retrospect, they were clearly trying to lead you down that swerve. But, you know, he goes all in, hyping up Bryan as the next world champion.
All right. Let's check out our cons for the event build. First up, we have the Twitter war feud with the Divas and TV hosts and Total Divas, just having all that play out on social media. We get Maddox just letting Cena handpick his SummerSlam opponent rather than having a tournament, Battle Royal, anything. And then we also get Vince taking a dump on Bryan pretty much for the whole month and kind of forcing the Austin McMahon corporate compliance angle.
It's so
a lot of goat face talk and beard Duck Dynasty talk. Like just
it's way too much authority figures at this point. Like we got Maddox, Vicky's still hanging around. We got Vince, we got Triple H. It's like too much. It's too much.
Yeah,
yeah, it's stupid. It's like Maddox just picks, says, "Okay, Cena, you pick." Cena picks Bryan, so it makes Bryan look kind of. He's strong, but it looks kind of lame that he just gets picked.
It's a bit of a charity case.
Yeah, a little bit. And then Vince just craps on him for a month. Like, this is your main event guy going into SummerSlam. It's like, what are we doing? So then, yeah, they're trying to do the whole 98 Austin Vince thing where, you know, you will comply, right? He's trying to get Bryan to clean up, wants him to clean up his beard and his look and all that stuff. It's just kind of going back to the well.
Yeah, diminishing returns for sure. No build-up for Bryan, no tournament win, no Battle Royal, anything like that. Just benefits from Cena handpicking him, designed to protect Cena and really give Bryan nothing. He doesn't earn his way there. It's giving John Cena even more. And then we have the Shield being completely cooled off and lost in the shuffle, which is, especially in retrospect, a very big omission on their show.
Yeah, I mean, they were red hot. Like,
yeah.
And then they really just kind of taper off, and then to not even be on the show. And you look at some of the matches they had, like it's crazy to me. We didn't get a Shield 6-man on this card.
Absolutely.
Dean in the pre-show, Roman and Rollins nowhere to be found. Like, I'm shocked we didn't get them. I don't know who the hell they could have fought, but you could have had someone pulled someone together for this, because there's a lot of people not on this card that have been used. Like we talked about AJ, fine, she's on it, but Shield's not on there. Ryback's been a big part of things. Henry's been a big part of things. Like Sheamus isn't around. Like there's a lot of people that have been used. Even Orton, I mean, he comes out of the end, but he didn't have a match. So there's a lot of people that have been involved in things that are just not even on the card here. And again, I know you try to tighten it up at SummerSlam. You don't want to have it bloated. You're trying to keep it to the top stuff, but those are top players. God, even freaking Curtis Axel. Like the guy's like he's been featured a shitload. You know, Jericho. I don't know if he was gone by this point, but he's not on there.
Yeah, even with we talked about AJ taking on Caitlyn for a third time on pay-per-view. Like you could have done that here. Yeah. Could have had like Dolph and Big E team up, and then you do the formal, you know, Big E and AJ turn on Dolph at the pay-per-view. Yeah. With Dolph trying to get gold back. So
I know you've kind of done a lot of the three ways. So even if you want to do two, you could just do Reigns and Rollins against Sheamus and whoever. You know what I mean? Like if you want to just do, if you don't want to go back to the same old 6-man, they did a bunch, you know, you could do that. RVD is red hot too. So you could have just done the Shield 6-man against like RVD, Sheamus, and Big Show's not on the show. Like there's a lot of people not on the show that have been doing stuff. So anyway, that gives us a a net war score for build of 4. So solidly built, but definitely some lacking in here. All right, let's go to commentary for our next category. we have a team overall, and we didn't talk about it. It's a team pretty much that's almost all season so far. It's Cole, Lawler, and JBL. Team does pretty good work telling the story of Christian's rehab shoulder throughout the match. They really focus on that. So good job bringing the big match feel to Lesnar and Punk. So kudos there. Like they definitely rise to the occasion, which they don't always do. This team, good job with the cash in. Again, they didn't have a ton of emotion besides Lesnar and Punk, but for that they really brought the heat on that one. And then they do a good job putting over the athleticism of Big E as well for his size and kind of getting over the things he can do in the ring.
Yeah, for a match with not a lot happening in it, they do a good job of trying to at least get the new guy over in that mixed tag team match. Let's check out the minuses for commentary, which have been the bugaboo of these shows so far. Two talky analysts, we've said it time and time again, analyst style, lacking energy and emotion to match the moments in the field throughout the night. We get the return of Creepy King as if he's never left, bragging about watching Total Divas over and over again. We get Cole rapid fire repeating himself when trying to emphasize points.
Look, King, look, he's got the briefcase. He's got the briefcase, King. King, the briefcase. Look at it.
Talking at King and the audience. Not a ton of insights, just basic observations and talking points. And then they bury Caitlyn on commentary with all she's lost due to AJ. Her friends, the roster, the fan support, the title, having the secret admirer thing. Yeah. Like they poke fun at her, and instead of like pointing out like, oh man, she's been through so much, like they're really just like, what a loser. Like look at all she's lost in the last 3 months. They're just piling on. And
she wins like a forgettable mixed tag. It's like she gets the belt.
Yeah.
So, all right. Score. I mean, that's not a bad commentary for this season. Like it could have been a lot worse. It's been worse. -1's honestly fine for this team. All right. Let's head over to Atmosphere. Point for the LA crowd doing the Fandango. So they were into that. Really cool LA Cop 70s movie vibe in the opening. They kind of have like the grainy footage with the porn music playing and that vibe going. So that was cool. JoJo does a great job of the national anthem, really nails that. Point for the Wyatts entrance, which of course will probably get a point from here to eternity as long as they're around. Point for the fire ring, looked really cool, and the crowd was kind of vibing on it. The point for the crowd being engrossed in those near falls, so Del Rio and Christian. Point for the huge pop for Punk. A point for the big fight feel for Punk and Lesnar. The crowd is right there with them. A point for the Punk ovation, which is funny because we've seen like 7 failed Triple H standing ovation attempts over the last year, and Punk gets a big one here in his loss. A big point for the big pop for Bryan's entrance. Point for the crowd being rabid all through Cena Bryan, and then another point for the pop for Bryan's win. So even if you want to go +3 for the Bryan stuff, however you want to look at it, it's kind of an all-time across the board entrance, match, win. The crowd is 100% behind him.
Yeah.
Well, they're into Cena too, but they're mainly behind Bryan.
Yeah. It's a good blend. Let's get into the cons of the atmosphere here in LA. We have first the crowd not being into Miz and Fandango at all. I mean, they get several vignettes or whatever backstage cutaways. Just not registering with the live crowd. The crowd is checked out on the Divas match, chanting for King, JBL, and Cole between the silence, and it feels so different. It's like an insult in WWE as opposed to like a badge of honor or paying homage in like WCW where they chant for like Larry Zbyszko.
Yeah, well, they do that during the open. The open of the show
for Brain. Yeah, like chant the Weasel chants. Like it's just totally different. Crowd being burned out for the mixed tag gets put in a tough slot in between the two classics. Basic looking set and arena feel for the show. Can't really tell it's in Staples. It's the same HD looking set as the rest of the shows. In LA, and no real celebrities in the crowd. W's always big on picking out even the lowest level celebrity, but not a lot of big names in the crowd tonight.
Was Rob Schneider even there? He's usually at every fucking LA show.
Yeah. And that does not feel like a championship atmosphere. None of the titles feel risky. Oh, excuse me. That's supposed to be for next month. My bad. That's for the next show. So let's take that out. But
well, we'll count it here because I think it matters here too. Even though Cena Bryan has it, like there are some in here. Like I don't think Christian really felt like a real threat to Del Rio. And then some of the other title matches don't even exist like the other belts. So I think you can twist that a little bit into saying, some of the motions really overall and some of the maybe around the card, around the title matches. So I think it's fine to keep it. I think the general gist is there. All right, so that gives us a grade of 7. So pretty strong overall SummerSlam performance in this crowd. All right, let's get notable moments. Gave a point for Bray Wyatt's pay-per-view debut in the Wyatt family. A point for the first Inferno match since 2006, which was MVP versus Kane. A point for Daniel Bryan beating John Cena clean and winning the WWE title. And I lied, it's 3 points, actually. It's an all-time moment for us. It's super important, right? To beat Cena clean at SummerSlam was a big deal at that point, and winning his first WWE title. He'd been a world champion before, but not WWE champion. A point for Orton becoming the corporate champion, defeating Daniel Bryan, and then a point for Triple H's heel turn to COO. So a lot of the moments really come from that main event on this card. And maybe that goes to your point before, Marcus, that temporarily misplaced, but I think it fits because not a lot kind of happens. There's not like a ton of stakes on the show. You have a mixed tag, you have a Divas match, doesn't mean anything. Even like Cody and Sandow, they could have put the briefcase on the line and had Sandow retain it. They could have done something like that. Like, there really aren't a lot of stakes on this card. Even Wyatt Kane, there's no stakes to the match. So besides the 2 world title matches, there's not a ton going on.
Yeah, and our mid-card titles are absent. No tag titles on the line.
Even Punk Brock, so. Besides the best in the world label, there's nothing at stake in that match either.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into the cons of notable moments. We have Sandow losing clean after winning the Money in the Bank, almost a WWE staple. And then Ziggler in the Let Me Up match at the height of his powers. We talked about it off air. We'll have to check the timeline on some real life events during this time, but definitely feels like a political hit. I'm not sure if the timing adds up, but it feels like a political hit is being made against the Zigzag Man.
Yeah, it's a quick fall. It's going to get even worse. Given how hot he was. All right, so that's a total score of 5 from moments. So that's actually decent given not a lot happened. This wasn't a lot negative in that regard either. All right, let's get over to card structure. We had a point for Miz. Pretty good host choice in LA, even though some of the Fandango stuff doesn't really hit well. But Miz obviously carries some of that Hollywood cred around this time, so it was a good choice. Point for a good gimmick decision for Kane and Wyatt to do the fire. We talked about it, both like that. Nice spotlight slot for Rhodes and Sandow to get a SummerSlam match for their feud and blow off. Point for the Punk Lesnar Dream match. Brock had that waste of a series with Triple H, 3 matches. We still didn't know if he was full-time at this point. He hadn't really signed like a big contract or anything like that. He was still kind of show to show. So you kind of wonder like where are we headed next with him. So this was a really cool, all right, now here's something for us to get excited about. Point for the simple card, no bullshit. There's no real nonsense in between besides the Miz Fandango stuff. Just kind of match. And then a point to close with a memorable all-time match with a title change, cash in, heel turn. It was a perfect way to close out a SummerSlam.
Let's get into the cons for card structure. We have the world heavyweight title being so low. Feels like the low card feels like even lower than mid card at times. Feels like it's in place of the Intercontinental title when the Intercontinental title is severely diminished, and continues here with the second show of the year being on so early. Nice to have women's matches, but only using them to promote Total Divas. It's not the quality or progress that we're looking for. We get Ryback devolved into bullying and catering after a good main event run with Cena. I think he's pouring the chili or whatever on the dude backstage. Lack of mid-card titles on the show. It's a huge hit on such a huge show. We get the death spot for the mixed tag match, where Dolph definitely deserves better. And no Shield. We talked about it earlier, but it really stands out on the show. On the TV, on the pay-per-views, they're really emphasized. They are a main event level act. Almost like if you left Demolition off like SummerSlam '89. It's weird. Even though they're a team, they are a main event act. So not having them here,
it's like you have to have them lose. Really, you could easily just, like we said, do a 6-man or whatever. There's plenty of faces you could band up, throw them in there together. I would reckon if you look at from this show till now, this is probably the last major show that has no Shield. It may be one of the last pay-per-views with no Shield, but at least I would say the last of the big 5, if you count Money in the Bank, to have no Ambrose, no Rollins, no Reigns. I don't know for sure off the top of my head, but it can't be many. So it's pretty crazy. All right, total score for card structure. 0. It's a wash, which actually isn't bad. Card structure usually a category that hurts these shows. So rewatchability gave a point for Bray sitting in his chair watching Rowan and Harper destroy Kane. It's a really cool touch after the match. A point for Del Rio hitting that super backstabber. Looked awesome. A point for Heyman acting as Bobby Heenan all match out there. He's really channeling the brain in his antics at ringside. Bryan winning the WWE title is extremely rewatchable. That knee to the face, the running knee, and then the pin. A point for Bryan and Cena slapping the shit out of each other in the match. And then a point for that Cena clothesline of Bryan also really rattled him. It looked great. So, again, it was a really well-worked match with some memorable spots.
Yeah, feels like Cena took enough meat hook clotheslines and he was like, I'm actually going to take that and use it. Great spot there. Let's get into the cons. There's only 2 for rewatchability. We get Harper's kendo stick doesn't catch fire like it should, but they still do the extinguisher spot. I know it's WWE, the plan, but it would have been cooler if we just would have stomped it out. But instead, they want to showcase the extinguishers at ringside. And then we get Triple H in a all-time terrible referee fit. He does good in the match with like not being noticed, but the fit, the combat boots, the shield pants, the untucked shirt.
Yeah.
It's like also not very flattering to his fit. Like it makes him look smaller on his build, and which is not usually something you say about Triple H. So yeah, but that's it for the cons for rewatchability.
All right, so total score there is a 4. We had 2 all-time matches, no all-time bad, so it's a +2 for that. So that brings us a total final war score for SummerSlam 2013 as a 28.5, which puts a 25th all-time for us, Marcus. You know, it's a really strong score. I would say it's a little disappointing. You know, that's out of 32, I think, or 33 to this point for us. So very high, you know. Pretty high.
I think the company that it keeps is, of course, like a really good comp, especially like Rumble 2000. I know this show has an extra great or really good match with Christian and Del Rio, but maybe that kind of takes the place of a lackluster Rumble. And then Rumble 2000, I think the other 2 matches you can comp to the 2 big matches here. It's the tag team tables match, and then it's the street fight for the WWE title. So yeah, that kind of really checks out when I think about it. I think that's a pretty good comp.
Yeah, and like we talked about at the start, we kind of teased, right? Like our show just digs more than match quality. So I think this SummerSlam finishes high when you look at, wow, there's some great matches, and it's probably, you know, best per rate on most SummerSlams, right? When you look at 2 5-star matches for most people, like Cash In plus Orton Christian. But it's lacking a lot of intangibles. Like not a lot. It's kind of a sneaky like show where not a lot happens. You know, if you're more into moments than matches, like it's actually not a lot cooking on the show. The build is kind of okay. Commentary is kind of okay. Like card structures, there's a lot of shit you could fix. So, like, yeah, I think it's carried by the matches and by the crowd, you know, and it's rewatchable. So I think those are the things that really carry the show. So I would say it definitely underperforms a bit in our standard. But again, I think if you look at most all-time SummerSlam lists, it's probably a top 3 show still. So,
yeah, where is this show in relation to Money in the Bank 2011? Because that's the other show I think that the show could get comp to.
22nd, so it's right behind it. 20. It's only a quarter point behind. So,
yeah, okay. Right.
Yeah, which it's a good comp too. You're right, because it's got the all-time Punk Cena match, which is kind of like Punk Bryan, and you get the great Money in the Bank match, which is kind of like Punk and Brock, and then the rest of the card's kind of weird. Not a lot else happens, right? But yeah, it's a good
Christian
comp.
Orton, and you get Christian Del Rio on the show.
Yeah, no, it's a good comp, right? They're very similar shows, and both would be considered probably top whatever pay-per-views of all time, right? But for us, they're more like top 20. And again, we had a lot more shows to go, so this could even sink even more, or they could, you know, not going to rise, right? Because whatever's in front of it's going to stay in front of it. But we'll see where they net out in the end. So let's hit our top 10 real quick, Marcus. We'll get out of here.
All right. I'll start with number 10. We have this SummerSlam 1992 with a WAR of 38.25.
SummerSlam 2001 is in 9th place with 39.
At 8, we have the SummerSlam 2015 with a 39.25.
WrestleMania 7's in 7th at a 39.5.
Number 6 is Vengeance 2005 with a 41.
Number 5, SummerSlam 1990 at 42.
And number 4, the Royal Rumble 2002 with a 44.
Number 3, SummerSlam 2005, 46.5.
And number 2 is Big Time WrestleMania 22 with a 56.5.
And first place, destroying the field at this time, is One Night Stand 2005 with 79. And as you can see, we love our SummerSlams. So, like, you know, I think that makes it even a little bit more disappointing. So we got 5 of our top 10 shows are SummerSlams. And then just outside the top 10, we have SummerSlam 99 is tied for 10th, right? That's at 11th on the tiebreaker. And then SummerSlam 13. So we have 7 SummerSlams in our top 25. We got 6 in our top 11, 5 in our top 10. So it's, I mean, SummerSlams do really well on our metrics. So good there. All right. So that'll be it for us. We'll be back in a couple weeks. We will be touching on Night of Champions 2013 as we continue this journey through, and be sure to check out everything in North South Connection, continuing our trip through 1995 with No So 95, which is look back at the pop culture, wrestling, sports, and beyond of 1995. It's a really cool project. Check out all the content we have for that. We'll have, I believe, whatever's coming up next, I think Money in the Bank, lots of current day wrestling coverage as well, all throughout the rest of the year too. So any big PLE, any big Saturday's Main Event, any of that stuff, we'll do previews. We have post-show, all kinds of cool content. Also give a shout out over to the Final Wrestling Place Patreon. Be sure to subscribe. You get all the Final Wrestling Place content, as well as the Opportunity Corner and other fun tricks and tribulations from my buddy here and our producer, not the Toolman Tim Taylor, who crushed it again for us. So be sure to check all that out. Thank you for joining us. Continue to live your life above replacement level, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks.